Hey guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp of the Limp, and I am back with Blackhorse, the Grand Technical Game by Arrigo Vellicona by Tiny Battle Publishing. I told you guys I would be back with this one. I am here. I've got it set up. We are ready to go. Well, kind of ready to go. I've got the tiny amount of American forces on the table. This is the second scenario that I was showing you guys when I did my quick review of the game. We're not going to play through the whole scenario. The whole scenario is 10 turns. That would just take too long, but I did want to play through a turn or two, let you guys see how the system itself works, how it all plays out. That's really the key point with this game is the activation system, which you can see here on the right side where I've got the two boards set up with all the little counters on it. It gives you the formations, and you're going to use these little formation counters like our 11th ACR here. And that is in reference to these guys, but not only just them, their offboard assets as well, which is some artillery, a Stinger missile, and a buttload of helicopters, which is really great. And something kind of neat with this scenario is you can actually decide, because there's conflict besides just in this little area, and you can send some of your helicopters off over there to fight. But basically, you're giving up some of your onboard assets to gain just guaranteed victory points. And I think it's for each helicopter that the 11th ACR sacrifices, they get 4 victory points, and they have like 5. And I was like, screw it. You know, I'm not going to play through the whole scenario on camera, so I'm going to take them all. We'll say screw the victory points. But if you give up like a couple, I mean, that's easy. Like you're right ahead. 8 victory points. That's great. That really gives you the edge. And I think the Americans are going to need an edge because there is just a swamp of Russian units just ready to pour across the map. Only one set starts on the board, and that's the 10th recon something or other, blah, 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 Russian crap. And what I decided to do with them is that the Russians have a special formation counter HQ that's the FSC. It's the forward surveillance or something or other. Basically, they're streaming ahead of the immediate Russian attack as kind of like a recon element. So I put that HQ in charge of the 10th. You can assign up to 6 units. I only gave him 3. I left the rest with their main HQs. So he's got a couple of light reconnaissance vehicles and a tank. They're coming in here from the north. I have the 45th guards coming up here from the very top right, and they're going to be streaming down. And I have the 211th coming in here straight at them, pretty much right at the American forces. I was going to bring the 10th in down this way, but I ended up not doing that. I might bring the 45th, switch them down over that way, but we got choices. The Americans start on the map. Russians start on the map with just very, very small amount of stuff. And the rest of the Russian stuff comes in march mode. So they are, streaming up the road as fast as they can, but that makes them very easy to shoot. And I think that's part of the reason that the Russians get so many extra units, because it's pretty much a shooting gallery on where, things are going to go. I ended up picking this because I wanted just direct conflict. I want to chuck dice and throw the attacks at each other. This is not a, hey, do this because this is a good idea. Definitely not. There's no cover for them. It's just smash into each other and see what kind of flaming wreckages we can get going. Now we do have our player aid here. It's got our terrain effects chart on one side, and then on the other side, combat results, airstrike, which I don't think we'll need. I don't think we have anything but helicopters. And helicopters operate almost exactly like ground vehicles. And our snafu table, which again is the big part of this game. Because remember, when you issue your orders, you're going to move these command tokens down, and as they increase in stress, they get heavily engaged, all that good stuff, they start taking disruptions. It's going to tick them up here, and they can continue to choose to activate. But if they do, instead of passing, there's a bigger and bigger and bigger chance that something bad's going to happen to you. So it's kind of up to you when you're done unless you get a finished result activating a formation. But if you push it too hard with that formation, bad things can happen. So, got all our counters, we got everything set up. We are ready to go with the Russians, and they get the first activation. I'm trying to decide, do I want... Where's my command counter for that one, if I want to do that? How do I activate those guys? Hold on. Because I should have a command counter for the... No, because they only do get 4. Now, this is interesting. How do I activate these guys? This is something I just realized, that they do that. So I guess they can activate with something else. They would have to. Because the Russians have the 17th, the 45th, the 247th, and the 211th. And then over that, like their head is the 79th Guards Regiment, right? But the 79th has this little sub thing, which is the FSE. But I do not have a command counter for the FSC, which I was thinking they were going to, but they're not. So that means they would have to activate with one of these other counters. It would have to be. Okay. Yeah, I missed that part. The FSC is assigned to a specific regiment. So I have to pick who I want to attach them. They're either going to attach to the 45th or the 211th, because the 17th and the other one, the 247th, are not on map yet. They get on map later, in later turns, which I don't think we're going to get to those turns, so that's not going to matter. The 211th has more units, so I might put them with the 45th up here. Yeah, I think that would be better, because I've got the main HQ, the head HQ, which confers some bonuses, and you can actually assign general support artillery, which I didn't, and now thinking about that, I probably should have. You can assign general support assets like artillery, offboard artillery, to the high level HQ, and if you do that, then you can call in multiple artillery units at once. There's a chance it might not go. There's like a command check on it. But if you get it to work, you can get a bunch of them firing all at once. Did not do that. I split up my artillery differently. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. So we're going to say that the FSC up here is attached to the 45th. That means whenever I activate the 45th, I'm effectively activating the 70 or the FSC as well. Now, I've grabbed a March counter out here. We'll put one here. We'll put one here, because all of these units are going to be entering in March mode. And I think we're going to start this way. Part of the reason I put the FSC up here was to give them a chance to come around, flank in on the backside, because I put the 11th has the bad thing that they have to be within 3 hexes of this border. So, there are 3 hexes there, but that limits them on their deployment. They kind of have to be over here somewhere, kind of guarding the border. And I wanted to put them in a spot to best hold back the advance, and I figured this spot here, there's this whole line of empty terrain. That way, if the Russians come in from this direction, they have to push past these guys, and it gives me some open lines of sight, and then they can kind of fall back in this direction, and then there's open terrain, but it leaves them open to being flanked, which is what I'm going to do now. Okay, so let's get started with this. Let's do the 45th. We're going to place him at the 1, and we're going to bump him up from 1 to 2, because he is issuing a movement order. They're coming onto the board, and they are going to be in March formation. I'm going to put one with this HQ as well, just to remember. You have to actually spend a movement order to come out of March. The good part about being in March, though, is that you get to use the movement points, the March cost from this. You don't get that if you're just in regular tactical mode. So it basically makes roads very, very useful. All right, and if you're on the Autobahn, which is way over here, you don't even have to spend movement points. Like, you could move up the entire thing free of charge. All right. I put them on this road specifically. So if they're on this, what kind of road are they on? They are on not a secondary. They're just on a road, I believe. Well, this is kind of interesting. Yeah, it just says Autobahn or secondary roads. Everything, it appears like everything else besides the Autobahn is considered a secondary road. Would have anticipated there being a difference between these, but I guess they're just color coded just for reasons. All right, but that means it's a half movement point, and every unit for the most part has 4. All right, so everybody gets 4. That means they can move 8 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we could stream them all the way up to there. And I'm thinking, yeah, we'll bring them in around over here. This way they can start bringing in some hurt on the rear. So we're going to do that. Yeah, let's move these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we'll just bring the rest around, keeping these guys in command. And we'll leave them down as march mode. Now, here's where the problem's going to lie. We've got the 45th coming in. It's not just this little stack here. It's this whole stack here. So I got to figure out how I'm going to bring these guys in. All right, so that's 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1. They're going to be a stack 1, 1, or 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2. So it's going to be 3 counters per hex. This guy's got command radius of 3 while he's in this mode. Okay, and he has onboard artillery stuff with him as well. I'm going to see if I can find the counters for this game so I'm not having to try to zoom in on things and hold it up. All right, he's got recon, which is a missile BMP. Looks like an armored car. That looks like maybe some type of anti-air missile asset. Onboard artillery, onboard artillery, onboard artillery. All right. Oh, these are onboard artillery. I've got to find a way to move these guys on in such a way that, and I know I'm kind of stacking them across the board right now. I'm going to organize them, but I don't want to let some of these weaker units, because like this, whatever it is, the reconnaissance, it's got a couple of missiles. It's got some good power to it. It's got a missile, 1 missile it gets to use. All right, so if this guy's got 3, I should probably have the first couple of groups of tanks, because this looks like it's all like tank stuff. Well, that's a BMP, 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 tanks, tanks, tanks. Yeah. All right. So I've got 3 stacks of tanks. 1, 2, and 3 on the counters. And these guys all have just regular armor piercing shots. Just what you would expect. Well, they have HE firepower as well, but they've got armor piercing shots. Yeah. So they can attack with HE as well. This is the part that throws me, is like coming onto the board, because I have to make sure I do this in the right way. Because, well, no. Yeah, I should be fine, because all of this up here, they don't get line of sight until they cross here. Actually, I think I put the 11th ACR in a very, very bad position. All right, let me move them on here in such a way as to not cause any problems with the command radius. I've only got 3, so I got to keep the HQ in the middle, so he's got the line. We're going to start. Do we start with a recon, guys? Their armor rating's so low. Their armor rating's only a 1. Those BMPs, they got like 1 good punch. They're like mages. They got glass cannons. They could throw 1 really good hit, and then after that, they're kind of crap, because they've got no armor. All the American stuff's pretty good. They can fire multiple missile shots, armor-piercing shots, and they've got some good armor as well. Okay. That is missile stuff, so I kind of want that in the back. I might lead with this for a big punch and then put the tanks in the middle. Yeah. We'll do that. And I'm going to come in this road up here and wander down. maybe into the woods. Go tactical mode, hit the woods, come hit the Americans here, because I don't really want to hit them in march mode. So we're going to have to switch that. Oh, I forgot to roll on the table when I was activating these guys. It's not going to matter since they are marching and there's nothing going on, but we're going for it. 2. Yeah. I knew it was no effect, so I wasn't that worried about it. All right. Tanks first. No. He's going, then he's going, and then one more tank, and then we'll have these 3 trailing behind the HQ. Okay. I gotta figure it out. It took me a sec. I got counters all over the board. All right, they're coming in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he can make it to there. He's going to go there. Then we're going to have this stack of tanks, this stack of tanks, then the HQ, who is in march mode, and then we're going to have our next stack of tanks, and up here we'll have some onboard artillery. Wow, just a huge amount of these guys. All right, that is it. Now, on the next time I activate these guys, I'm going to give them a movement order, but it's simply going to be to take them out of march. Because if they were fired at right now, the units that were firing at them would get a +4 to their attack because they're in march mode. Now, looking at this, it's time for me to activate the 11th ACR because these guys have all activated. And here's the thing. I was like, I'll just call in my helicopters and go blah, blah, blah. Problem is that I have to move the helicopters on board before they can do any shooting. So I have to issue an order to move them on board and then issue another order on the next impulse to actually conduct an attack with them. So it's part of the reason I put this guy here was because that gives him 6 hexes of range in every direction, because helicopters get double the command range. So they can get out farther than vehicles can. So vehicles, about yay that he can control. Helicopters, it's about yay that he can control. And I'm thinking I'm going to put a couple of helicopters up here to fire down on these guys as they're coming up, but I know there is some anti-air assets up here somewhere. I got to figure out where they're at. Because they're supposed to have blue. What is it? It's some blue circle or something is the only thing that can fire at air assets. It's got to have a blue circle for its range, so none of those can. That can. That's what it is. That's the anti-air asset, and it's got a range of 5. He's got anti-air capability. He's only got a range of 2. So I've got to keep my copters. Let me grab my tweezers. I got to keep my copters out of the range. I don't think they moved any anti-air assets up close. It's just, is there any here? Nope, it's all recon. Okay, yeah. All right, if they're up there, where was it? The big one. Yeah, they're both there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he can shoot out to about there. So if I put my helicopters here, they're good. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think there is any anti-air asset over here. Yeah, we got some good stuff. Part of the reason I'm keeping these guys so tight is because the FSE only has a command range of 1, which is toit. All right, we're going to go movement order, and we're going to pop our copters on the board. All right, so I'm going to try to shoot up definitely these things before they get in range. All right, and they can be within 6 hexes of there, so that's going to be fine. That'll give him fire orders. Actually, let me put one of these. Yeah, we got more coming up this way, so I'll put that one here. And now I'm going to put a couple over here too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can go right up on them. And yeah, they don't have anything that can anti-air it. Do they have any? Because the American forces, some of them have Stinger missiles, and I don't believe the Soviets got anything like that are off board. Now they do have some helicopters they could call in, but I don't think they've got anything like that. Yeah, they didn't get any Cobras. Okay. Yeah, they do not have anything that they can offboard to really worry this. So I could probably use the helicopters to shield my backside completely from any of these attacks. Because, yeah, this will work. This will work. If I put a helicopter there, and maybe there. I want to put it to where I can shoot them no matter where they move to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I can just go right to there. Go right there with it. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Oh, but no, I want to put one over here too, where these guys are coming in. Well, I got these. He can fire over there. Because once I use the helicopters, it takes an order to bring them out. Then they got to go back. Then they got to refit. And then they got to come back out. And then there's a lot of orders in between just getting them back and forth. So you're really not going to get more than one good run out of these guys. So I want to try to be able to fire all their missiles while I can. Maybe instead of here, go here. And yes, these trees are technically blocking terrain, but he's hovering up above it, and it takes two blocking pieces of terrain to actually block a helicopter's line of sight. So I can put him here, and he can still see up there and over here. I think that's a better bet. So this one can fire over there. This one can fire over there. This one, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just out of range. Perfect. All right. Yeah. That's what we're going to do. So, helicopters all across the board. Now you can see why they're worth so many victory points by giving them up, because they are so good. So yummy. Oh, wait. Do I want to put that one over? Yeah. We're going to switch these two. This one in the back. He's going to go there because he has just a wee bit more punch to him. A little bit better. We're going to put him there. That way, the one that's firing in both directions gets that. Okay. Now, that's my order. Let's make sure we do this. Take the 11th ACR up to 2. And after poking around with this game for a little bit, the moving the command marker up and remembering to roll on the snafu table is the very thing that I think is going to be most forgotten on the table, because you're going to get so focused in on the action and what's going on down on the table that you forget about doing this. But it's the most key part of the game. You can't forget it. Trust me, I know it's easy to forget. I've forgotten. You'll forget. Try not to forget. All right, now, Soviets impulse. And now they're in a pickle because they need to bring on their next group. Or do they wait and take those guys out of March? Which way we want to go with this? You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and bring the 211th on. I know it's not the brightest of ideas. It's probably not the smart play. I want to get the combat going, and I'm not going to worry about all the minutia. We got to get the guys on there. Now, looking at it again, I probably would have changed their entry point from there to here so they could come around down. But, hindsight's 2020, so it is what it is. His command range is also a 3, so this is going to be a problem as well. He has got a bunch of units just like the 45th Guards. Actually, I think his stack is very similar to the 45th Guards. That's why I don't understand the Americans have nothing on the board. Nothing on the board. 3 onboard artillery. Same thing with some recon and some anti-air assets, and then I think the rest of this is stacks of tanks again. So 1-1, 2-1, 3-1. So it's 1-1 of the 211th, 2-1 of the 211th, 3-1 of 211th, blah blah blah. And this is the same thing: 1-2, 3-2, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2. So each one of these is stacks of 3, and they have 4 stacks. Except this last one is also a recon element with 3 BMPs. So the Russians have, again, Russians or Soviets? What are they? They're Soviets. They're Soviets. I mean, isn't that insane? I mean, it's the country of Russia. They're Soviets, so they're Soviet Russians. Who cares? They're red. They're the bad guys. We have them coming on. They're coming on in March. The higher HQ is coming on with them, but the higher HQ's command radius cannot be used to keep them in command. The higher HQ's command radius is 12. That's beautiful. But he can't use it for that. All right, so we know this is going to be in the back because that's artillery. We're going to put... I don't know, do we want to do that? Maybe I bring them on first, because that's the anti-air asset. So instead of bringing this recon element on, I'll bring this recon element with its anti-air assets on first, and then we'll do the same thing. Group of tanks, group of tanks, group of tanks, recon, and artillery with the HQ stuck in the middle. That's what we're going to do. And I need to march. Well, doesn't really matter, but we're going to mark both of these HQs as March. They're coming on in March formation, but they're not going to stay in March formation. Now, I got to do this part specifically because they have line of sight, they have line of sight, they have line of sight all directly there. Boom, 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 to their entry points. So, how are we going to do this? The first text moved is going to be this one. And I have to, I'm gonna slow this part down because they're going to open fire as shit's coming in. I fully anticipate on losing things, and now that I'm thinking about it, I shouldn't have sent the anti-air stuff first because now it's going to get blown up, but it's okay. We'll leave it as is. All right, so that's going to be the next stack. That's going to be the next stack. Then this one, then this one, and then this one. All right, so these 3 are coming on last. These 2 are coming on next. And this guy's coming on, and if they're on the road, it's a half movement point. And they're moving along here, so they've got plenty of space. I kind of want to try to get them in this woods down over here. But we're there. I've got 3 units that can conduct fire. Some of them have range, some of them do not. Ooh. Okay. This is interesting. When are they going to get in range? So, because he's got a range of 2 with his HE, 4 with his missiles, 4 with his missiles, 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3, 2, and 3. There's just tank down here. He doesn't have any missiles. So it's like tanks and Bradleys, tanks and Bradleys, tanks and Bradleys, just a tank. Just D Company's just one lone little tank down there. All right. If they come this way, it doesn't matter really what direction. He can go ahead and fire. But that's right. Oh, that's something to think about. For opportunity fire, for each time I opportunity fire, I have to tick this up. Okay, so we're going to do this combat, and I'm probably going to end up breaking this up into the next video because I anticipate a lot of shooting going on here. Now, here's how combat works, and it's a little bit different than how other games have done it. So what you do is color coded based on the type of weapon you're using, either AP or HE. All right, AP is armor piercing, which can include missiles. So basically, it's color coded. If you're firing a red munition, you're going to use the red armor value on the vehicle or whatever you're targeting. If you're firing an orange, you're going to use the orange value. And HE is handled a little bit differently. That's things like artillery or explosives. And it's more useful against softer targets like infantry vehicles and whatnot, that it can't damage a hard target like a tank per se, unless it's artillery, but there's a little back and forth on that. For our purposes right now, we're just focusing on the AP, so that's what we'll worry with. And I'm going to go ahead and take a first shot here. And do I want to take it with this one or this one? I guess it really doesn't matter. We're going to take it with this one. And I have to mark this guy because he's using one of his missiles, and helicopters, like all the other American vehicles, get 2 salvos. After those 2 salvos, they have to resupply. Doesn't mean they're out of missiles for the remainder of the game. They just only get to do that so many times before they have to reload. Soviet vehicles actually, for the most part, get 1. Like the BMPs, they have this nice hard-hitting attack, but they only get it once before they're out, whereas like the helicopters get to fire twice. He is going to fire his red salvo at whichever is the better of the 2. This one, the armor, the anti-air asset that is coming on the board here. What you're going to do is you're going to take the attack value and you're going to subtract the armor value, which for us is a 1. I'm going to put him on the top. Not very good armor value for this thing. So he right now is 9 minus 1. So 8. Okay. You roll a d10, and if your result is equal to or under whatever this number is, then it's a hit, and then you compare it on the results table. Higher numbers do better damage. Thing is, there's other modifiers that come into play. And for us, that modifier is going to be the fact that they're in March. That was the big thing. They are very weak in March. They're very easy to hit in March. They're just streaming up the road. Think the A-10s blowing up all the Iraqis, right? So that means that they get a +4 to this number. So he's at a 12. Impossible to miss. Not impossible to miss. I mean, still roll low, right, and not get a good result. But if your final value is something like a 5, well, you're going to have to roll equal to or under a 5, but you can't get some of the better results. Okay? Makes sense? Really, really easy to understand. For us, I don't think there's too many other values that are going to apply. Doesn't get any terrain modifiers because roads count as the actual terrain. Because roads count as the terrain they're on. That's clear, which is 0. Where I did the armor value. He's getting the +4 from the March. He's not disrupted. Not in tactical mode. They are deployed. He's not low on ammo. Like the actual low on ammo, this counter. Nope, not that counter. Where's the other one? There's a ammo low. It's one of the results that you can get on the snafu table. So not like a ATGM low. That just means that you're half out on your salvos. Sure. Not that. Not artillery firing at hard targets. So no other modifiers. So our final value for this first stack comes out to a 12. 12 is higher than our possible results. So we can't miss per se. Anything we roll is going to cause some type of effect on them. It's just how good is this effect going to be? Whether it's going to be a disruption or some step loss or whatnot. The number listed is how many steps are lost. A D result means that they are disrupted, and driven applies when it's AA and they're firing at aircraft means that they have driven them off. All right, so let's roll our die. What do we get? 6. 6 is 2D. The D is going to end up being useless for us because this unit only has a single step. So actually a 1 and a D are useless to us. This means he has been eliminated, just flat out. Blah! He's off the board. The rest of the results do not get applied to the others. HE can do that. HE can target a hex. That's it, right? The AP can only target a single target. So that doesn't work too well for us. Did I move this up? No, because we started at 1. I moved to 2 for moving them on the board, so I have to move that to 3. Oh, all of my command track is going to be burned up on reaction fire. Do I dare? Well, they're going to have to move another hex. And if we go there, yeah, we'll have the other one because I want to get rid of those air assets, or I could wait. All right, so the next stack is coming in. After that, I got to keep them streaming in right there behind it because I got to make these choices. They're moving into the hex. Actually, that's kind of interesting. I don't think it's really going to matter for our purposes, but do you move all of one stack before moving the next stack for opportunity fire purposes? Because I've got to decide who I'm going to op fire with here and here. These guys are going to burn through their missiles firing at these targets. I don't really want to burn my anti-tank missiles at soft targets that I can take out with easier shots, but see, 1, 2, 3. Oh, they got to get close before I can get that, and they'll get some defense there. That's okay. All right, here's what we're going to do. We'll do one more attack because I think we're getting long in the tooth here on this video. Yep, I am definitely getting long in the tooth on this video. I'm going to have to do the rest of it later. You guys forgive me. I'm new to the game, so I'm kind of walking it out slowly. I hope it helps you all out. Me trying to fiddle fart my way through this. Where is my missile low? We are going to fire this guy's missile. So each of these helicopters have now fired a missile, and he's going to target one of these tanks. Okay? And he's targeting one of those tanks because those tanks are brutal. They're mean bastards. But he's got a value of 10. 10. Oh, damn. -7 is a 3. But he's getting +4. So it's a 7. 7. The best I can get is a 7. Oh, no. Well, I can still kill him with a 5, 6, or a 7. Was there any other modifiers? No, I think that was it. Yeah, firing at him on March is a definite to do. And I need to mark down the fact that I am lightly engaged. All right. We are going to be heavily engaged the moment we are fired at. Once you start shooting at an opponent, that formation becomes lightly engaged. Once they start receiving fire, they are heavily engaged, and it makes you tick up this thing even faster, which means I need to just go ahead and get all my outfiring in because I got a feeling after that it's just going to be my troops weathering the storm for a few turns because we're going to burn through so much. I've only got 1 American formation on the board, whereas they have 2 to split the cost out, right? And they're coming in. But we're firing a missile here. Final value is a 7. If I'm right. Final value is a 7. Yeah, is a 7. So with that being different now, that means that we can no longer get an 8 or a 9 result on our die roll. And it looks like a 9 is a miss. Wow. That's interesting. I wouldn't have expected that. 9s are misses. Huh. Kind of neat. But we can only hit if we are at that number or under, right? So that's why you want to have your final value as high as possible. So let's roll for him. And he got got a 5. Yes, perfect. 5 is 2D. 2D means 2-step loss and a disruption, but sadly for us, that extra D is not going to do anything because 2 steps gone. Why would the AP go up to 3 when there's no units that are beyond 2 steps in this game? That makes no sense to me. Because AP can only target the single one and none of that other stuff carries over. Let me check just to make sure. Yeah, I just double checked it and it's saying again that that AP can only target a single unit. So I'm wondering what the deal is with that. Regardless, they took out a tank, so that worked out well for him. We'll go ahead and pause it here because I don't want to get my camera batteries out, and we'll pick it back up with the remainder of this trail coming on because I've got the rest of these units coming on and I have to figure out what units are going to fire at them or not. That is a question. I know HE, right? The lighter firing stuff, the yellow numbers on these counters, they can combine their factors and just unload into a hex, but you can only do that against softer targets. You can't do that against tanks, right? Now, artillery HE can target hard targets like a tank, but onboard HE can't. It can only target the softer stuff. Like when we're talking about softer, just to show you, like we flip over our HQ here, you see it's just a little lightly armored vehicle, right? When it's targeted. So things like that can be targeted by multiple HE units. I'm gonna have to look that up as far as the AP goes, because that's kind of interesting to me that the max result is 3D, which would mean 3-step loss and a disruption, but it means 1-step loss and a disruption is wasted because you can only target one specific unit, and that one specific unit can only have 2 steps. There are no 3-step units in this game, not that I'm aware of. I'll have to figure that one out because that's confusing me. All right, but you guys stay tuned. We will do a little bit more of Blackhorse, let you guys see how it plays out, because my guess is the American forces are going to start well, swinging out hard against the Soviets, but the Soviets are going to kind of swarm them, right? They're going to be able to be behind them, on top of them, and in front of them. So they will crumble under the pressure. It's just trying to hold out. The Americans do get reinforcements, but those reinforcements don't, I was getting ready to say spawn. They don't spawn on the board anywhere close to here. They come on the board way over here. They're way on this side of the map. So it's going to take them a few turns to get their asses over here to actually be able to help out. The 11th ACR will not last long. Damn, I think it would almost behoove them to, pull back, but, force the Soviet units to try to catch up with them and maybe have the Americans pull back into a defensive position here in the town. That way the Soviets have to stream all the way across. Oh, but just as an FYI, if you like the look of this, you like games of this nature, check out the video game. Oh, I'm brain farting on the exact name. It's by Slytherin Games. I think it's Flashpoint Campaign, Southern Storm, if I remember it right. Plays very similar to games like this. Really cool hex encounter digital game. I know, yes, Mark, don't hate me for preaching another game, but it's a digital game. It's not taken away from this. But if you like this, you'll like that. Really cool game. All right, that's going to be it for me. You guys take care. I will catch you in the next one.